Since it is summer out there still, it's warm, it's hot out there, it's muggy, and I am continuing the woody series of videos. We're doing woody, aquatic, and or marine fragrances today. Is this a style you like? I've always mentioned I have a challenging time with marine. Aquatic is okay, but marine tends to be pretty tough. But I've got a really nice collection of woody, aquatic, or woody marine fragrances today in this video. We're going to find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. If you're into woody fragrances, then please go catch the previous videos in this series I've started. We have woody citrus fragrances, woody spicy fragrances, woody leather fragrances, woody amber fragrances, woody chypre fragrances, woody aromatic fragrances, and then I started off the series with just a general woody fragrances video. Today I'm doing woody, aquatic, and marine fragrances. Do let me know if you're a fan of this style, and I should say there's a few more that I'm going to do. I'm not doing them weekly now. I'm going to skip a week and then come back to it until I finish off this series, and then by that time I think we'll be into fall, almost to fall, and I'll start a series on amber fragrances because according to a few of you, amber is quite in style lately. It's popping up in fragrances, and I figured that would be a great one to start autumn series with. But let me know if there's any other styles you want to see outside of amber. I'd like to find out. I can go ahead and tackle those videos as well. But and also let me know if you like this style of fragrance, woody, aquatic, woody, marine. I always say I've been challenged with marine. When I first started doing these videos and I was exploring marine fragrances, there were some out there that smelled of sulfur, rotten eggs, just really repulsive smelling. I think marine fragrances have gotten better, and I've also gotten used to the smell so they don't come off that nauseating anymore. But I know some of you are challenged. Let me know if you are challenged with marine fragrances in general. And what about aquatic? Do you see a difference? To me, in my book, aquatic doesn't necessarily mean marine. It means more watery, and marine for sure means the sea, and it could smell fishy. But let's go ahead and get started with the list. I've got a really great collection of niche offerings here. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first one from the house of MICALLEF. This is OSAITO, this one right here. Are you familiar with this one? In fact, this is a really great one. It kind of sort of reminds me a little bit of Myrtle de Panarea from the house of Aqua di Parma. That doesn't go marine for me. This one does because there are like C notes in the credited notes. And for sure, you'll recognize it. But in the end, it's focusing on the Myrtle or Myrtle note. A really great note that doesn't come up quite often in fragrances. It's here. In your face myrtle with a lot of C notes, citruses, marigold, musk, grapefruit, sandalwood, woodsy notes, and amber. Sure, it's fresh, it's breezy, it's sea breezy. It's a bit, you can recognize a marine, but I like the smell of the myrtle. It's a bit uniquely peppery in a floral way, but not necessarily like black pepper or something like that. But myrtle has this peppery effect, but more in the way of a green herbal spicy flower instead of like black pepper and things like that. But it's a really great freshie with the whole C notes thing. OSAITO from the house of MICALLEF. We're moving on to the house of Molten Brown. It's coastal, cypress, and sea fennel. This one right here. So just to let you know, this is an older bottle. The bottles are not like this anymore. This is a classic bottle, so it might be a collector's item. Who knows? But one of the best in this collection, for me, I really love it. And also it comes in an eau de parfum if you want a little more intense. So it has notes of vetiver, cypress, sea notes, cardamom, fig leaf, and a little bit of leather when it's drying down. It's very fresh. It's for sure marine. And I feel like this is Molten Brown's answer to something like wood sage and sea salt. But wood sage and sea salt is an eau de cologne. This is an eau de toilette. And as I was saying, there's an eau de parfum. And it's also quite different. For me, wood sage and sea salt is somewhat of a marine fragrance, but it doesn't act marine for me. It's more musky, aromatic, and salty. Here, you actually have the marine. It's fresh. It's a unique take on this sea breezy freshness along with cypress. I like the combination of these two quite nice. And here, it's really, really wonderful. So it's coastal cypress and sea fennel from the house of Molten Brown. Moving on to the house of JUSBOX, it's Feel and Chill. Feel and Chill is aquatic. It doesn't necessarily go marine, but they are using melons in here. So melons do have that kind of like brain trickery or nose trickery. So it will come off a bit marine-like, but in a fruity way, which is quite nice. This is a fragrance I was a bit challenged with at first, but I've gotten used to it and I enjoy it quite a bit now. But it's the fig leaves, watermelon, coconut water, bergamot, vetiver. Very fresh, breezy, fruity, fun and playful, and a bit marine there with the notes, and also a bit woody for sure. You've got woods under there that, you know, develop when it's drying down. So it's Feel and Chill from the house of JUSBOX. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Moving on to the house of MAISON Margiela. It's Sailing Day. This one right here. Very popular fragrance from this house, and it's an eau de toilette. It wears very, very fresh, and this one also was a bit challenging at first. I've gotten used to it, so you can get used to fragrances if you're at all challenged with them, as long as they're tolerable. You know, sometimes you might be not into certain notes, in my case the marine notes, but when you keep coming back to it over and over, you'll get used to it. But this is C notes, aldehydes, seaweed, chili pepper, juniper, amyl salicylate, cedar, ambergris, coriander, iris, rose. Very aromatic, spicy, very marine. Seaweed is in here. You'll notice it. You'll notice it for sure. But it's a very fresh fragrance. It's an eau de toilette also, and I feel like you can use this in the heat of the summer. I am very cautious with using marine notes in the summertime when it's extremely hot. It doesn't develop very nicely on my skin, so I stay away. But for something a little cooler, and you want that kind of marine thing, then it would be perfect for me. But what do you guys think? Try this Sailing Day. Let me know if you get that kind of an effect. It goes a little stinky on me when I do wear marine notes in the summertime, especially something like Acqua di Sale from Parfumeuer. I stay away from that fragrance in the summertime. In the wintertime, it's amazing on me. Next, going to the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, one of my favorite marine, aquatic, woody, breezy, citrusy fragrances. This is Un Air de Bretagne, this one right here. For me, the combination of the lemony notes with the Calone, this is a note that was very challenging for me. It's such a match made in heaven here, and they use the right amount of Calone. Calone is a synthetic note to create the smell of the sea. It's here, but there's also seaweed in this, along with bergamot. There's a lot of citruses, cypress, cedar, ambergris, and neroli. Beautiful fragrance, really great. In fact, I feel like in this collection from L'Artisan, they were fragrances inspired by different regions in France, and I believe several of them got discontinued. This one, inspired by the region of Brittany, and then also Chant de Camargue, inspired by the south of France and the Camargue region, I think are still selling. But what a wonderful fragrance this is. If you are challenged with marine notes, try this. I feel like all the notes that are against the Calone on the seaweed to create that kind of marine effect, kind of like tone it down. It's there, you'll notice it, but other notes kind of take over, like the lemony citruses and the bergamot. Wonderful offering. So it's Un Air de Bretagne from the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. The next fragrance I'm talking about is from the house of Clive Christian. It's Crab Apple Blossom, this one right here. Very unique fragrance for a marine woody, or yeah, marine woody in this case, not necessarily very aquatic, but the marine notes that are in here do act a bit watery as well, of course, because it's water. But the crab apple, or the apple blossom I should say, is so delicious in this. I don't see that note coming up too often, and when it does, I actually really love it. I am obsessed with fruit blossoms, especially when they first bloom and you could smell them, very fragrant. I love them. And here it's very magical. It's got the apple blossom, it's got marine bergamot, green rhubarb, mint, sugar accord, sandalwood, and driftwood. I like this note of driftwood. They added in a lot of fragrances lately, and I could see that it might be a bit a synthetic note, but it does create this kind of a woody marine thing. But it's a marine fragrance that's very fresh, very refreshing, a bit floral fruity from that crab apple or apple blossom, but a wonderful fresh fragrance to wear in the summertime if you like that sort of thing. It's Crab Apple Blossom from the house of Clive Christian. So the next fragrance going to the house of State of Mind. It's Open Mind, this one right here. Are you guys familiar with this house? This is a very interesting house that they're inspired by tea. They all feature tea. Fragrances are all shipped, or the presentation is in a tea box. If you guys ever familiar with Mariage Frere tea, one of my favorite tea brands, the canisters that are, you know, the tea comes in, that's how these bottles come. Very, very unique. But this is Hinoki, Cypress, Melons, Gyokuro tea, Guaiac wood, and Lotus. The Lotus flower gives us a watery effect, so an aquatic effect. The Melons giving us a bit of a marine edge, but it's very aromatic, spicy, and of course that tea, which is calming and soothing. A great freshie. One of my favorites from this house. It's Open Mind from the House of State of Mind. If you're unfamiliar with that house, do check them out. I've got a few features of those fragrances in some of my videos. But the next fragrance is CONTES de Parfums Sydney from Ramon MONEGAL. This one right here. I know you guys want me to do a video on this house, so hopefully soon I'll be able to do it. And this is a really great freshie once again with the marine or notes or marine accord that's in here. It's created by Ramon MONEGAL, who is a Spanish perfumer, and also his brand is pretty amazing. I don't ever speak about it, but he's got some great niche fragrances. This is a collection of fragrances done by different perfumers, famous perfumers, and this is his fragrance focusing on marine accord. So it's marine accord, jasmine, pineapple, anise, bergamot, nutmeg, pink pepper, cedar, musks, and rose. Very fresh, very floral, a bit breezy with the marine notes, a bit citrusy, and then of course woods when it's drying down. It wears wonderfully to me. It doesn't come off fishy, which is really, really great, because Ramon MONEGAL had a fragrance, I don't know, maybe he still has in his collection, his own line, called patchouli, but there was something in that fragrance that was so sulfuric marine, and I love patchouli. It just didn't work for me, that fragrance. So I was a bit scared here, but it smells really, really fantastic, and a great summer freshie here. So it's a marine woody, aquatic woody. This is CONTES de Parfums Sydney, created by Ramon MONEGAL. Up next, going to the House of Bon Parfumeur, it's number 803. Are you guys familiar with this one? This smells so good on me. I'm surprised how good it is because it's got patchouli in it. I love this note. Even with the marine notes and things like that, it smells really fantastic. It's super sexy as well, and I couldn't figure out why, but I had to look it up. It's got patchouli in it. It's pretty dominant as well. It's patchouli, ginger, ambergris, pink pepper, juniper berries, seaweed, sea spray, aniseed, and ylang ylang. It acts very hefty, so it might come off a bit too strong for summer if you're very sensitive, but I really love this in the heat. It projects, it smells fantastic, it's earthy, it's woody, it's marine, it's got that sea breeze or sea spray note in here along with the seaweed, but all these aromatic notes and floral notes comes in as well. I feel like it's not necessarily very fresh because it's overdosed with a lot of patchouli and ambergris creating a bit of an ambery effect, but I love this stuff. This is so good. 803 from the House of Bon Parfumeur. Check that out if you're unfamiliar with it. This next one's a very unique fragrance. This was a bit challenging for me as well. I've gotten used to it. It's a bit minerally, very musky, from the House of Royal Crown. It's Eternum, this one right here. I love these caps. What do you guys think? Are you familiar with this house? Eternum is a minerally aquatic, fresh, woody fragrance that gets addicting after a while, but a bit challenged at first because I'm very sensitive to these kind of notes. It's got musk, aquatic, water notes, juniper berries, white melons, iris, white flowers, sandalwood, honey, gurgeon balsam. When it's drying down, it does get balsamic and woody. It sweetens up, but you'll really notice that kind of watery, marine, minerally thing happening. You get that kind of minerally effect from ambergris, and I feel like there's a bit of ambergris in here. So it does come off pretty potent. And maybe it's just an accord they've created and they haven't credited it, but it acts like it on skin. It could also be a bit of like ambroxan, but this stuff smells great now, and I was a bit put off by it at first. It's a great house, by the way, this House, the Royal Crown. Eternum is a really great marine woody fragrance. Check it out if you're unfamiliar with it. The next fragrance from the House of Estoras, it's Port of Alexandria, this one right here. And what I like about this one, it seems to be like a California coast, and you're standing there smelling the aromatic essence of the trees, the spiciness, the woodiness against a breeze of sea hitting your nose. That kind of stuff is very, very magical for me. I love it. And I love it. I love the smell of the sea in real life, and I was quite challenged with it in fragrances. But this, again, is Port of Alexandria. It features notes of lemons, bergamot, fresh cut grass, marine accord, atlas cedar, salt, cypress, gasoline, pine, and tree moss. Yes, you're next to some cars probably along the coast. I mean, I traveled down to the Monterey area. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And you can get that kind of an experience with the cypress trees, the waves crashing against the coast and things like that. And of course, you can smell a little bit of car exhaust going by. Very interesting interpretation here. Estorras, Port of Alexandria. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. And then we have another fragrance that's created by Ramon Monegal for his own brand, Ramon Monegal. It's Sunset Cafe, this one right here. You know, I have to be honest, Ramon Monegal does do a lot of marine aquatic fragrances. It's a given. I've got two here that are both created by him. One for his own brand, one for another brand. And this Sunset Cafe is really, really great. It's kind of a gourmand marine. It's seaweed, coconut, coffee, jasmine, strawberries, rose, oak moss, amberwood, musk's cocktail. Like musk cocktail is basically what it is. So it's very amber, it's very woody, very musky in the dry down. Up top, it's like the sea breeze, marine notes, hitting your nose next to a coffee shop at the coast or something. That's what it smells like. And then you get a little bit of like that beachy smell as well, because the coconut comes in, and of course coconut, jasmine gives you a bit of that kind of solar floral effect happening here. But that coffee smell is really, really magical. It might be a bit strange for some people, but I like these kind of experiences, having fresh brewed coffee or, you know, espresso next to the beach where you can smell everything that's associated with the beach, which is what exactly you get here. Sunset Cafe from Ramon Monegal. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Then Rosendo Matu's 1988. This one right here. It's two different Spanish brands back to back. Ramon Monegal and Rosendo Matu. This is a fragrance from a series of 4 fragrances that are the years of Rosendo Matu's like major things that happened to him in those years. So 1988 was a good year for him. So this is citric notes, fresh notes, clean notes, ozonic notes, marine notes, woods, salty notes, woody notes, spices, white musk. So in the end, it's got all of these things happening at once. It's very watery, marine, and aquatic at the same time. And it also has the ozonic touches. Ozonic touches comes from things like cucumbers or violet leaves, giving you that kind of crisp freshness. But this also has a lot of flowers and woods along with it. So basically that's what you're getting. It's a very watery, floral, woody fragrance. It's very, very fresh. You'll be reminded of the sea. It does have that kind of sea smell, but mixed in with the woods and citruses as well, because there's some citruses here too. So it's 1988 from the house of Rosendo Matu. And if you haven't noticed, I'm doing it chronological order of release date here, and I'm ending the list here with Adamo Parfum South of 5th. What I like this one is the pine trees, because we have pine trees here and we have the coast. I like that combo. The combo of the smell of the pine trees and the sea breeze works really, really great. And this one on skin, the pine is elevated, comes through a lot, with a lot of that sea breeze coming in. It's a fantastic fragrance. This is a new fragrance from this house. Features Siberian pine, tuberose, cedarwood, marine accord, patchouli, nutmeg, neroli, vetiver, praline, pink peppercorn, rose. The praline is key, giving it a bit of a gourmand sweetness. It does need it. And then the patchouli, always fantastic. On skin with the patchouli, the pine, and the marine stuff, fantastic fragrance. It's kind of reminding me a little bit of the 803. But the 803 doesn't have the pine. So there's traces of similar notes. But in the end, both of the fragrances are amazing. South of 5th is so delicious and an amazing marine woody or aquatic marine woody fragrance. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances, guys. Are you familiar with them? Is there something that sounds great to you that you want to wear? And let me know if there's something else that you wear that I did not speak about today. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching today's video. Do let me know what you'd like to see next in the Woody series. I have 2 in my mind, but let me see if you guys are going to mention those. But either way, thanks so much for stopping by. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And those of you that are on a budget, here are a few budget men's targeted releases. I didn't mention at the beginning of the video that this collection might lean a bit masculine. I feel like aquatic marine fragrances do lean masculine in general. that's my experience with some of them. But we've got 3 male targeted budget fragrances here. First of which is Davidoff Cool Water. It's an aquatic woody fragrance and a very popular designer offering, launched in 1988, created by, what's his name? Drawing a blank right now. It'll come to me, but lots of C notes here with aromatics and green notes, and Calone is in here to give you that kind of sea breeze thing, and Pierre Bourdon is the perfumer. But either way, Cool Water. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. And of course, I can't forget this. It's Lotus pour Homme from the house of Issey Miyake. This one's not marine, actually. It's more aquatic. It's fresh and citrusy. Really great. Created by Jacques Cavalier in 1994. And then, last but not least, Bentley for Men Azure. This one's actually aquatic, woody, and also ozonic woody. Very fresh, zesty, clean, a bit crisp, but perfect summertime fragrance on a budget. These 3 fragrances are on a budget, and this one launched in 2014, and unfortunately I don't know the perfumer. But either way, that is Bentley for Men Azure, and that wraps up the video. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you guys later. Bye-bye.